As you can see, there's many modes of transport here, and also so many shops, so many restaurants, and that's something that definitely captivates people to live here. And I think I also recommend it for many Americans as well, starting off in Warsaw. Hey travelers, welcome back to Explore with Kojo. Today we are in the beautiful Warsaw, Poland, but today it is quite a gloomy day. We are set with a 21 degrees Celsius weather, so it is quite chilly here. So as you know, I have my jacket ready and my winter attire, as I would say, my fall attire, here today to show you guys the general cost of living here in Poland and what you can prepare yourself for if you decide to move to Warsaw, Poland, or just in general in Poland. What you can expect of costs of living, such as in apartments, houses, electrical bills, which I'm not 100% sure of, but I will tell you guys and show you guys around malls, grocery stores, and general shops, and look at those prices with you guys. Just to keep in mind, $1 is around 4 zloty here in Poland. So let's keep that in mind when I will be discussing things in zloty currency. So yeah, let's discuss about what is it worth living in Warsaw, Poland, and what are the general costs of living. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like and also subscribe to Explore with Kojo. So let's get to it. Alright, let's start off with the general cost of living here in an apartment, for instance. I'm walking around a couple of apartments here in Warsaw. I am in the district of Muranów, which is very close to the city center, but it's a little bit further away, and closer to Arkadia, which is in Żoliborz. It's also another district. So it's in between two different communities here in Warsaw. And what I have noticed about the cost of living here is that in the context of how many rooms you would like and also where you want to live or be situated in is how much it's going to cost. What I have realized as an American here living from New York City, the Big Apple, to here in Warsaw, Poland, is that rent is a bit cheaper here. Well, a lot cheaper, I would say. Overall, if you're looking for a not a 5-bedroom, but a 2-bedroom apartment here in Warsaw in a pretty good district, with everything furnished to rent monthly and pretty much everything ready with beds, 2-bedroom, a living room, for instance, a kitchen and a bathroom, I would say that would cost you around 5,000 zloty per month, which is the general price here in Warsaw. And it isn't as bad as, for instance, in New York City, which in New York City, to pay for a good apartment in a good community, you would have to pay double or even triple that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And I would say that many Americans are deciding to move to Poland instead, due to the high quality apartments and lower costs of living here to live in a big city such as Warsaw. So I would say those are the general prices here. For a 1-bedroom, of course, it's a little bit cheaper, but also it really depends on the district as well, because you could find a very cheap apartment with a 1-bedroom in a not very well district here in Warsaw and pay very little. But if you're looking for something good with a family, for instance, or even just alone, you could definitely get a deal on things to rent out, as there are many opportunities here in Warsaw. So let's keep on going and let's check out general food prices, malls, etc., and let's see how far we can go. Let's go. So carrying on with our discussion, I would mention that many Americans choose to move to Warsaw out of all cities here in Poland is due to that it's very similar to New York City, for instance, in the US. Many people in Poland actually call Warsaw a mini New York, or just in general in Europe, they call Warsaw the mini New York City. So I think it's very similar and convenient for many Americans to actually move to Warsaw, because it generates the same exact vibe as you would find in New York City in the United States. So I think that pretty much attracts a lot of Americans here to Warsaw is because of course, cheaper cost of living. That's one. Two is that it also kind of resonates and shows New York City in a smaller way. So I think that's definitely something that captivated me and my family as Americans, and also just in general American tourists here. definitely something that I would mention as to why many Americans may feel captivated to move here as well is the difference between what kind of apartments you can get and for what price. For instance, we can see that these are a little bit lower maintained apartments here in Warsaw rather than an apartment that is closer to the Palace of Culture, which would be in an amazing district. You know, you would have a luxury apartment, and of course those will be a little bit more expensive as it's directly in the city center. While here in the district that I am in at the moment, we are around 10 minutes away by tram from the Palace of Culture. But you live in an apartment such as this, and maybe you pay lower for rent, but it is exactly the same and it's only 10 minutes away from the city center. So you definitely have a wide variety of options that are still close to the city center, of course. And that is definitely something that many Americans may keep in mind, is that the differences of costs of living here in Warsaw is that maybe you may live close to the city center with not the best district. If that's something that you're looking for, is something that, you know, is cheaper and close to the city center, that's definitely something that you can find. Or if you want to find a luxury apartment in the city center that is still not the most expensive, you could still definitely find that. So I pretty much think there's something for everyone here in Warsaw. And I think the main thing that captivates us Americans is how cheap it is for us in comparison to a dollar and in comparison to the currency that they have here. What I will also mention is public transport here in Warsaw. As you can see, we have a lot of public transport here, and you can basically get around all of Warsaw using a tram, bus, metro, or a train, which is so convenient here. And also the ticket prices in metros and in trams are not the most expensive. So I think that's definitely something so convenient, and a greater advantage to Warsaw is a cheap cost of transport here, as you don't have to get around everywhere with a car in comparison to the United States, but you could just hop onto a tram, such as one here, and you can pretty much get around all of Warsaw using a couple of modes of transport. So I'm gonna show you guys how to buy a ticket on a tram, for instance, and we are on our way to the mall. This is a crazy observation for me, because one little piece of bread costs only not even a full 1 zloty. It is so affordable here. While this bread here, toast bread, only costs you $1. Pretty much is $1. It's 4 zloty, so it's $1. Look at that. $1 for a whole loaf of bread. You rarely see that in the US. I mean, I haven't been there in a very long time buying bread, but I could imagine it might be a little bit more expensive than $1. even though Warsaw's inflation has a bit, like overall Poland's inflation has risen a bit, so grocery stores aren't as cheap as they used to be. But I will say they are cheaper than in the US. You can buy, honestly, a fish, one fish, for 2 zloty or some sort of, I don't know exactly the depths of it, but it's at 2 zloty per gram or so, which is honestly such a good deal. You can also buy frozen here, which is honestly also such a plus because it's very affordable. It's very affordable, and most things are less than $2 or less than $5 in general for something that you can almost eat for dinner or even for the whole week, which is amazing. And there's also such a wide variety to choose from. I really think it's America's heaven here for an American that's a food lover, because honestly you can get so much for just such a cheap price, especially if you're coming from the US. So let me give you guys a bit of a price comparison, for instance, from the US to here in Poland. As you guys can see, I'm in the juice section here, and a whole 1.75 liter bottle of juice here, orange mango, is only not even a full dollar. It is not a full dollar. You have a full juice here that you can use for pretty much the whole week or for the family, and you have so many options to choose from. For instance, in the US, you would almost pay double that, which is also pretty absurd to me because there are so many varieties of options here, and you can get juice for such a small price. For instance, here we have a little bit of more of an expensive price. Here it's $7.45 for an orange juice, but it's a little bit more of a higher quality brand. It's copy, but still that's not even a full $2. So it's still very affordable here, and you can honestly have so much to choose from. In the US, it does also, there are double prices of that, which I have noticed, which honestly, as I've mentioned before, an American moving here and going grocery shopping is literally heaven for us. in Polish malls and overall shops like Zara, they are kept well organized always. Polish people and Europeans really love cleanliness in their shops and even in their malls. You won't find a piece of paper on the floor, nor will you find any garbage or any of the such. So also the prices in Zara, or just in general in any clothing shop here, really depend on the quality. So for instance, I showed you guys 3 different shirts, and all 3 had different qualities. One was cheaper than the other because of the quality and the texture that it was in. For example, a satin shirt costed only $69, which isn't that expensive in American dollars as well. So I think sometimes it's even more affordable to shop in Europe rather than in the US. Personally, I will tell you, I'm not that educated on the prices between US and Poland on electronics, but I will say there are a lot of offers here in the shops here in Poland on electronic items, such as we have here for 1,900 you have a new laptop, fully new, which is honestly not that bad in my opinion. Sometimes the prices are a little bit more absurd, but oh look at this. Here they have like outlet items here in these like baskets, and you find them and you have discounts for them. So for example, these headphones are only 61. Maybe they're a little bit more used, but look at that. Sometimes you can honestly find fully functioning things that have been returned in not the greatest state. So they also have that option here, which is honestly pretty great for the Polish citizens and residents here that live here. And I haven't noticed those kinds of things in Best Buy. I may be wrong, but from what I remember, they don't have cheap things like that here in Best Buy in the US. But they also don't have like clearance items such as that in Best Buy from what I remember. So I honestly find that a steal. So what I will tell you here, in comparison to, I guess, well, here I'll compare Dubai to Poland, because I actually have bought myself a Nintendo Switch in December or so, and there is a difference in the price. Oh my goodness. I have a limited edition Nintendo Switch from the US, and not the US, from Dubai, and it cost me 1,500 or 1,600 dirham. Here we have the same one for 1,500. Well, there's a difference because dirham is of course a higher currency than Polish zloty, so you definitely do save some money, and which is honestly pretty nice, because here you can find all of these things. For example, you can buy new Nintendo I guess switches to it for 320, which I'm not sure the price difference on how it would cost in the United States, because I obviously haven't bought myself a Nintendo Switch in the US, but you guys can let me know in the comments down below. Are the prices similar for the Nintendo Switch, or is it exactly the same? Let me know. I have a lot of offers and a lot of discounts on things. The one thing that honestly shocked me the most was the ultra big speaker for 1,119. That's the price you pay in dollars for a speaker that size in the US, which kind of like honestly shocks me that you can get deals like that on such crazy items. So the price differences, or just in general the prices here for every single shop that I've been to, were quite surprising. I have found in every single shop I was in, for example the grocery store, the clothing shop, the electronics store, etc., had so many shopping deals that you can honestly find. You can find cheap items for such exclusive brands, which is honestly so bizarre for me, and honestly very worth it. And as an American that has lived here for 5 years, I'm shocked at some of these prices. Now we are leaving the shopping mall, and I'm going to take you guys to a nice restaurant, a nice Polish restaurant, where you can get cheap deals on Polish food, and it is very worth it to go eat there, especially that they have all the varieties of food, of Polish food, from soups, from desserts, from full-on meal courses for such a cheap price. So let's go check it out, and let me show you guys those options. Polish cuisine. I know, I hope you guys can hear me. But I ordered tomato soup with rice, pierogi of course, with sauerkraut and with mushrooms, and also some sauerkraut on the side because I love sauerkraut. I actually paid a little bit more than I was supposed to, and the waitress actually noticed, and I paid 38, but it was actually 28, but I got the rest in change in cash, so it's okay. So let's dive in, let's try it, and this was for 28 zloty. Full-on meal with a soup as well, 28, which is honestly a steal. Let's dive in. Alright guys, so we just finished our meal. I'm so sorry for not speaking so much during my meal. One, I was very hungry. Two, I enjoyed the meal too much that I couldn't even bother to speak, and I got full very quickly because pierogis are very filling. And three, I got social anxiety. I got social anxiety filming because actually a couple sat right next to me midway through filming. So right next to me. So I felt so much anxiety to start speaking to you guys. But overall, I paid around 28 zloty for a full meal, for 4 pierogi, sauerkraut, and also a soup, which is honestly a deal breaker for me. I think it is so worth it. And the food was also very yummy. And I will definitely be going back. I would rate it a 6 out of 10. I've definitely had better. And I would say my family does make better food. I think every Polish person will tell you that their grandmother makes them the best pierogis. So I definitely agree with that. Therefore, for a dish out to eat some pierogis or some Polish cuisine, you can pay that little. You don't have to go to many fancy restaurants for good Polish food. And that is one tip that I'll give you from a Polish person. And something that I definitely recommend that is very cost efficient here in Poland. If you want to eat Polish food, you can definitely eat it for cheap. So yeah. And that makes it for today's video on what's the cost of living here in Poland from an American standpoint to a Polish standpoint here in Poland. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful in some way. And if it was, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to Explore with Kojo. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye!